Welcome back to Ozarks Fox AM. It is a privilege to get to interview the program director of Safe and Sober, Brian Hom. Brian, it's so good to see you.
Thanks for being here. We really appreciate it.
Well, we're having a great morning so far. We've learned a lot, raising a lot of money. Tell us about your role as program director.
So I help develop the videos and curriculum that are sent to all the schools, and we do a lot of recruiting of schools throughout the state and make sure that they have what they need to deliver the messages and get the kids educated on what the consequences of drug and alcohol use are.
So how do you gather all the information and maybe the flyers and the things that you get to distribute to the schools? What is the process like?
So we do a lot of research. We pull from national organizations, traffic safety, a lot of mental health and drug and alcohol, national government agencies is kind of where we get most of the information. But then we also seek out local stories of people that have been affected and kind of those real hard-hitting personal stories we find resonate with the kids really well.
Do you get any kind of numbers? Like, people like to see percentages or something's going up or something going down. Do you get to see any of those numbers and kind of figure out how Safe and Sober is working in the community?
We're trying really hard to evolve to that because we've had a lot of metrics that are kind of very basic, like how many schools we're in, how many students are at those schools, and how many pledges we get back, but that doesn't really measure behavior change and attitude change. And so one of the things we're trying to do now, the pivots through COVID, is a lot more electronic gathering. And so we've got QR codes that are going out with the program, and kids can take a quick quiz, and then at the end we can find out, did we impact their attitude? Did we change their perception of what is going on?
How important is it for the parents to get involved? Because we're talking about the kids, getting them away from substances, but it's probably pretty crucial to get those parents involved.
Oh, absolutely. Still well over 90% of the impact of kids making that decision comes from what they expect their parents to think of that decision. So it's hugely important. And we do have a component where we reach out to parents and try to educate them as well on how to start the conversation, how to have those difficult talks. Second most difficult talk, probably.
Do you think, for a parent, the second most, yeah, I agree with you. Do you think that, okay, let's talk about the United States. You started here in Missouri. Do you think Missouri gets a bad rap for, you hear about the drug statistics in Missouri in certain areas in our communities? They're maybe known as, certain drug capitals. I mean, we have that stereotype. Is that a fair assumption, or do you think we're making dents in it? We shouldn't talk about Missouri in the way that maybe the rest of the country talks about.
Yeah, I agree. And I think one of your street smarts questions earlier touched on it was are we more or less likely, our teens more or less likely in Missouri to use? And the Missouri student survey that just came out showed that they're less likely. So we're making an impact, and I think we do have a bad rap. The whole thing with meth and being called 417 and just kind of that hotbed. But I think we're making progress and really changing those attitudes nationwide, starting here at home.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because I didn't want to say meth, but because of like the TV show Ozark, and people, we're in the TV business, we hear it all the time about meth capital of the world. This is, I think it gives us a bad rap because we're really making a lot of headways starting at a young age at the 13.
Yeah, absolutely. And what we've been seeing over the last decade is a drop in alcohol use and overall drug use. Unfortunately, as one of our speakers was talking about, the pandemic has really we've seen those numbers turn back up. And at our heart, we're impaired driving, is what we're trying to do. When we started was stop drunk driving deaths, and those have bounced right back up in the wake of the pandemic. And so one of the things we're looking at is just kind of the changing attitudes. And you mentioned parents, and a lot of parents relaxed their rules, right? A lot of people who said, no, we absolutely are not going to let our kids drink. Well, we all locked up in the house together during lockdowns, and those attitudes changed. And so they started saying, it's okay since they're home and it's safe. And that's really not the case, because once the world opened back up, kids took those attitudes back out into the world. So.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for all that you do. We appreciate your time. Thank you, Brian. We're going to bring over now our friend
Megan Hopper.
Megan.
Yes, she's the prevention manager here for Safe and Sober. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys this morning?
We are good.
You guys are putting on quite the show. I'm impressed.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yes, a show within a show, first time.
I know. That's what I'm impressed about.
Well, Megan, we want to know what you do and how things are going, because I know you're kind of a newbie to this.
Yeah, I'm very new. I just started in July, so it's going super well. I am, like I said to Kelly earlier, my dad was a DARE officer, so I'm continuing the prevention and just healthy living styles within schools and just continuing that prevention as I'm continuing my master's program as well. So I'm loving it so far. It's quite an adventure for me, but it's going great so far.
Okay, quick question. You look very young. You just said you're finishing your program, your degree. Tell us about it. Kelly and I have been out of school for about 5 years.
5
5 years, thank you. What was the pressure like for you growing up? Because you just kind of got out of that situation.
I did.
What was it like?
It was very tough in the sense that I had a lot of people always like, oh, you want to try it because your dad is keeping you away from it. But really it was my dad just saying, hey, this is not the right thing to do. You have a lot ahead of you, and look where it's led me now. I'm doing the same thing or similar to what he's done before, and it's definitely making him proud, and that makes me happy. So.
And that's good because some kids will go the opposite way. They want to defy what their parents do, but you knew your dad loved you. You know he wanted the best for you.
Look at me and I melt. He has my heart. So.
How were you on maybe being that good influence on some of your friends? Some of your friends may be like, maybe we should do this. Maybe we should try this. Were you a good influence on them? How did that work?
I think so. It was really a lot of, my dad will get us if we need to, but none of my friends were really like that. We were always just, we're going to have fun, but let's not get in trouble by my dad. So that was a great influence for everyone. We didn't want my dad to show up if we needed.
I like that because I always felt that way too. I didn't want to disappoint my parents.
Yes, absolutely. That was a big influence for us, me and my brothers, yeah.
Yeah. Some kids don't have that, but I'm thankful that some do.
I'm so glad we did. They've done great, and my mom, absolutely.
So how have you found taking on this role? Because you're still in school and you're doing this job. Is it difficult to balance both? And then what does your daily work at Safe and Sober consist of?
Daily work right now, well, it's a lot of the fundraising, but once this is done, we will do contact out with schools, reaching back out with how we can do their programming, what is going to help them most next year for their program. 8 to 5, I do school work after that, so it is busy, but my big girl job, like I've said, and I'm glad to start here. So.
Well, Kurt said earlier that some of the schools dropped off because kids were out of school. So do you have to reconnect with those schools?
We do, and we found a new way to social media, like everything else, has been the biggest thing. But just reaching back out, say, hey, what can we do for you guys this year? What's best? So
we're here to help you guys.
Absolutely, we're here for you. What can we do?
Megan, thank you so much.
Yes, thank
we
you,
appreciate your
Megan.
time and what you're doing. You are a bright
We're so
light.
proud of you.
Oh, gosh,
Are you
made
Gen
my
Z?
day.
Because we love you, Gen Z.
Oh, I think so. I'm
Okay.
2000.
Okay. Thank you so much, Megan. We appreciate it. All right. We are going to be back from the White River Conference Center right after this. Lots more, guys, from Safe and Sober. Stay there. We'll be back.